Something very strange is happening in the Bay Area, and it's got all of Dub Nation buzzing. Out of nowhere, Kevin Looney has decided he's got something to say, and he's not holding back. After years of being one of the most loyal, reliable, and quiet contributors on this Warriors squad, Looney finally broke his silence in an eye-opening interview that raised a lot of eyebrows across the league. On what he said, let's just say it wasn't all sunshine and championships. This isn't your average offseason gripe. This was frustration that had been simmering for a while, finally bubbling over after what can only be described as a disappointing and confusing playoff run for the Golden State Warriors. Looney, a guy who's been a glue piece, a steady presence through thick and thin, made it clear that he felt left out and underappreciated and frankly disrespected by some of the decisions made, especially by Steve Kerr. In the interview, Looney pulled back the curtain on how things went down during the series against the Houston Rockets. He wasn't just talking about a few minutes here or there. He was talking about being benched in situations where he felt he could have made an impact, about not being trusted to do the job he's been doing for years. He dropped a quote that stuck with a lot of fans. "This is what I do. They're not giving me the chance to really do what I do. It's like, all right, y'all don't trust me. I thought y'all would trust me." That's heavy. That's not just frustration. That's disappointment that's hurt. And when you dig into the stats, some people might argue that Kerr made the right call. Looney's minutes were down, his production wasn't popping off the screen, and he didn't have the same mobility or energy we've seen in the past. But others are pointing out that numbers never told the whole story with Looney. His value was in the things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Setting hard screens, boxing out, making the smart pass, anchoring the defense. If you've watched this team closely, you know what it means to their system. Now here's where it gets even more complicated. Around the time Looney's role was shrinking, Quinten Post started getting more minutes and even some starts. The guy was hitting threes stretching the floor in a way the Warriors haven't had at the 5 in a long time. That's the kind of offensive versatility that gets noticed, especially in a system like Golden State's. And look, Post was solid, but Looney felt like it was anyone but me. That's a tough pill to swallow, especially for someone who's sacrificed a lot for this team, played through injury, stayed ready, stayed humble. You can't forget that Looney is only 29. It feels like he's been around forever, and in Warriors years he kind of has. He's been a part of everything over the last decade, but he's been dealing with injuries since his teenage years. Hips, back wear and tear from playing the most physical position in basketball. It's taken a toll. You can see it in the way he moves now compared to a few seasons ago. Still, for a player who gave everything to the franchise, this kind of exit, quiet at first, now loud and raw, hurts. Not just for him, but for the fans who watched him grind every single night. Let's also talk about the numbers that had fans split. In the regular season, Looney averaged 15 minutes a game, 4.5 points, and 6 rebounds. Respectable, not eye-popping. But if you really watch the games, you know he was still doing the little things. And yes, there's that weird stat about him shooting 40% from 3. But don't let that fool you. He took 5 threes all year. He made 2. It's not like he was spacing the floor or anything. That was just noise. Come playoff time, things got worse. His minutes dropped significantly. In Game 6 against the Rockets, he only played 2 minutes. 2! And that wasn't an outlier. There were several games where he barely touched the court. In Game 7, he finally got some run, 11 minutes, and managed to grab 4 rebounds. But again, that's not the kind of performance that screams, "I need to be out there more." The Warriors got crushed on the boards not just by Houston, but by Minnesota as well. They couldn't compete with Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert. They got bullied. And even though rebounding is supposed to be Looney's specialty, he wasn't the solution this time around. And that's where things get murky. You've got a player who's built his identity around grit, effort, and trust, being the guy who does the dirty work. And now he feels that trust is gone. He said it plainly. You either trust me or you don't. That hits different coming from a veteran who's seen it all with this team. The 3 titles the Dynasty run the culture everyone talks about. It all feels a little less shiny when guys like Looney start airing their grievances. But here's the twist. Looney isn't just speaking out for attention. He's already moved on. The Pelicans picked him up, offering him a deal the Warriors weren't willing or maybe weren't able to match. Whether it was about money roll or respect, the writing was on the wall. And let's be honest, Golden State's front office has some serious questions to answer about how they're managing this transition phase. Because while all this Looney drama is unfolding, the Warriors are having a pretty brutal offseason. No major signings. A bunch of free agents still floating around. And meanwhile, they're banking on a possible signing of Al Horford, yes, a nearly 40-year-old center, to stabilize things. And get this, according to some reports, Horford's decision might be influenced by his 10-year-old son. You heard that. Right. His son Ian has apparently been traveling with him on road trips, loves basketball, and especially loves Steph Curry. The word is Ian could be the one convincing his dad to keep playing and sign with Golden State. That's where we're at. Let that sink in for a second. The fate of the Warriors offseason might hinge on a kid convincing his dad to delay retirement. That's the level of desperation we're seeing. Reddit summed it up perfectly with one user saying, "We're begging a 40-year-old undersized center to sign with us instead of retire." And it's literally the only thing happening this offseason. It sounds like a joke, but it's not. To make matters even more complicated, everything is being held up by the Jonathan Kuminga situation. The team can't finalize deals with veterans like Horford or DeAnthony Melton until they figure out Kuminga's contract. Golden State is already over $170 million in guaranteed salaries for just 9 players. If they use the mid-level exception to sign someone, it would hard cap them at just over $207 million. That's dangerous territory because it opens the door for other teams to come in with an offer sheet for Kuminga that the Warriors might not be able to match without shedding salary. So they're stuck. Everything is on hold, and that includes the fans' hope. Now back to Looney for a second because there's another layer here. Earlier this offseason, he penned an emotional farewell to the Bay Area through a player-focused publication. It was heartfelt. Fans were moved. But now, after this latest interview, the tone has changed. He's still classy, but clearly frustrated. And while no one's calling him bitter, it's obvious that he didn't like the way things ended. And let's not pretend he's the only one who's ever felt this way. Over the last few years, we've seen hints that not every player walks away from Golden State feeling valued. The system that brought so much success might be wearing thin for some guys. The balance between developing young talent, maintaining a winning culture, and managing egos is tougher than ever. And when veterans like Looney start speaking out, it forces you to wonder if that legendary Warriors culture is beginning to crack. One thing is clear, the Warriors are at a crossroads. This isn't just about missing out on Looney or waiting on Horford. This is about a franchise that's trying to stay relevant, rebuild on the fly, and hold on to what made them great. All at the same time. That's not easy. And right now it feels like they're missing the mark. The truth is fans are getting restless. Every day goes by without a major move, and the skepticism grows. Are they really committed to competing next season? Are they building around Steph? Or are they transitioning into something else? And what happens if they strike out on Horford, miss on Melton, and lose Kuminga? Suddenly, it's not just a rough offseason. It's a full-blown identity crisis. Meanwhile, the players are watching too. They're not oblivious to the rumors, the silence, or the slow pace of decision-making. And when respected veterans like Looney start pulling back the curtain, it sends a message to everyone in the league things aren't as smooth in Golden State as they used to be. So yeah, something strange is definitely going on around here. We're watching the slow unraveling of what was once the most envied organization in the NBA. The question now isn't just who they're going to sign. The question is what kind of team do the Warriors want to be? Because right now, even their most loyal soldiers are walking away and telling stories that don't sound like the Dynasty we all remember. And if that wasn't already enough chaos for one offseason, there's another level of dysfunction lurking just below the surface. Because beyond the Looney situation, the Horford waiting game, and the Kuminga contract drama, you start to get the sense that this front office might not have a clear plan at all. The moves or lack thereof speak volumes. They've been quiet while other teams in the West have gotten better. Teams like Oklahoma City, Minnesota, and even Houston are retooling aggressively. Meanwhile, Golden State is basically just watching and waiting. It's almost like they're stuck in the middle, not fully rebuilding, but not fully going for it either. And the longer this drags on, the more uneasy everyone becomes. Steph Curry isn't getting any younger. He's still an elite player, still one of the best point guards in the game, but his prime won't last forever. Every year wasted is a year you don't get back. And right now, it feels like the Warriors are wasting time. There's no sense of urgency, no clear direction, just a bunch of half measures and maybes. That doesn't fly when you've got a generational talent on the roster who deserves to compete for a title every single year. What's wild is that even the pursuit of Al Horford feels like a band-aid. No disrespect to Horford. He's had an incredible career, and if he signs, he'll bring leadership intelligence and a calming presence. But he's not changing your season. He's not shifting the balance of power in the West. He's a solid veteran big man who can hit a three and play some positional defense, but he's not giving you 30 minutes a night or shutting down Jokic in a playoff series. He's not solving the rebounding issues that plagued the team last year. So when you hear that he might be the biggest move of the summer, it's understandable why Warriors fans are panicking. And let's be honest, this whole waiting for the Kuminga situation to resolve. Excuse is starting to wear thin. Everyone loves Kuminga's potential. The athleticism, the flashes of brilliance, the upside. It's all there. But the fact that his restricted free agency is essentially holding the franchise hostage says a lot about how poorly the roster is structured. If your entire offseason hinges on what happens with a young player who hasn't even become a full-time starter yet, then your priorities are completely out of whack. Front offices around the league are reportedly circling, waiting to see if they can force Golden State into a bad spot with an offer sheet that could push them over the dreaded second apron. If that happens and the Warriors can't match without unloading salaries, it's gonna get ugly fast. That's how close this franchise is to a financial corner that could be hard to escape. And yet we've heard almost nothing concrete from the front office about how they plan to navigate it. Meanwhile, the message being sent to other free agents is loud and clear chaos. You got longtime veterans like Looney airing dirty laundry. You got the team hesitating to make moves because of the cap. You've got players in limbo waiting for something to happen before they commit. And all of that adds up to a perception problem. Because in the NBA, perception matters. If players start to think the Warriors are a mess, that reputation sticks. What makes this even more painful is the contrast with how things used to be. This was the team everyone wanted to play for. The ball movement, the culture, the rings, the fun. They had it all. But now it's starting to feel like that shine is gone. The front office doesn't seem as sharp, the roster isn't as deep, and the vibe isn't the same. Even within the locker room, you're hearing stories that guys don't feel appreciated, don't feel heard, don't feel like they're part of the plan, and for a team that built this dynasty on chemistry and trust, that's a dangerous place to be. Of course, fans are still holding on to hope. There's always a belief that Steph can elevate anyone, that Draymond's leadership still means something, that Klay might have one more good run left in him. But you can only rely on nostalgia. For so long, the league doesn't wait for anyone. And with teams like Denver, Dallas, and even Memphis making bold moves, Golden State can't afford to stay still. The rest of the West is evolving while the Warriors are spinning their wheels. Even the rumored connection with DeAnthony Melton, another player who would help but not transform the team, is stuck in limbo. And again, it all comes back to that second apron. The collective bargaining agreement has made it nearly impossible for top-heavy rosters like the Warriors to add meaningful talent without financial gymnastics. And this front office, for whatever reason, has not shown they're willing or able to make the tough moves needed to stay competitive under the new rules. That might mean trading Andrew Wiggins. It might mean finding a way to move on from Chris Paul's contract. It might even mean biting the bullet and letting Kuminga walk if someone throws him an offer sheet you can't match. None of those are easy choices, but that's where this team is at. The golden years are over. Now it's about survival. And you can't talk about this without acknowledging what Steph Curry must be thinking. He's loyal to a fault. He's never going to go to the media and throw people under the bus. But make no mistake, he knows what time it is. He knows that his window is closing, and he's not going to get many more chances to add to his legacy. So if you're the front office and you're sitting on your hands hoping a 40-year-old center is going to be your savior, you're not doing right by your franchise player. Even the players on other teams are watching this unfold. They see Looney going public. They see the Warriors getting out-muscled in the playoffs and then doing nothing to fix it. They see a roster that's aging and top-heavy. And if the only plan is to wait for Steph to pull off another miracle, it's not going to be enough. And then there's the Summer League storyline, Kuminga and his camp reportedly in discussions with the Warriors in Las Vegas. That sounds good, but it's also just more waiting, more uncertainty, Until something actually happens, it's just noise, and the longer they wait, the more leverage shifts away from them. It's a dangerous game to play, especially when the only real moves you've made this summer are letting Looney walk and pinning your hopes on a maybe from Al Horford. Reddit had it right. It feels like this team is begging, not planning, not building, not developing, but begging Horford to sign, begging Kuminga to wait, begging fans to trust them one more time. That's not how champions operate. That's how desperate teams act when they don't know what comes next. And to be clear, the fans aren't mad because Looney's gone or because Horford isn't here yet. They're mad because there's no clear path forward. They're mad because the team is clinging to the past while pretending to build for the future. They're mad because one of the most successful franchises in NBA history suddenly looks like it's been run without a plan. So here we are, waiting, watching, wondering what's next. Will the Warriors finally pull the trigger on a deal? Will they find a way to bring in talent without blowing up the cap? Will they actually make a decision on Kuminga before it's too late? Or will they just continue to drift hoping things fall into place? One thing's for sure, the clock is ticking. Not just on this offseason, but on this entire era. And if they're not careful, they're going to look back on this summer as the one where it all slipped away. Because when even Kevin Looney, Mr. Stability, Mr. Team First, is walking out the door with bitterness in his voice, you know something has changed. The Warriors used to be the model franchise. Now they're just another team trying to figure it out. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are swirling in the NBA world about a potential blockbuster move that could shake up the Golden State Warriors roster. Dylan Harper, the young rising star, might just be the Warriors' next big signing. While nothing is official yet, insiders hint that the Warriors are working behind the scenes on a spectacular deal that could bring Harper to the Bay Area, sparking excitement among fans and analysts alike. Dylan Harper has been making waves recently with his impressive performances, showcasing a blend of athleticism, skill, and basketball IQ that many teams have coveted. His ability to impact both ends of the floor has caught the attention of scouts and executives around the league. Rumors suggest that Golden State's front office sees Harper as a perfect fit for their system, an athletic wing who can contribute immediately alongside their established stars. The Warriors, known for their strategic moves and eye for talent, seem poised to add fresh energy and depth to their roster. Harper's potential arrival could be a game changer, especially considering the team's desire to remain competitive in a fiercely contested Western Conference. The buzz is that the deal being crafted could involve a clever mix of assets, possibly including draft picks or young players to bring this promising talent aboard without disrupting the core lineup. Fans have already begun speculating on social media, debating how Harper's skill set could complement the Warriors' trademark style of play. Could he become the next splash on the Warriors' already star-studded team? Will his presence boost their championship ambitions? While Golden State has remained tight-lipped, the very possibility of acquiring Harper has injected a new wave of optimism. Of course, as with any rumor, it's important to take these reports with a grain of salt until official confirmation arrives. But the mere talk of a spectacular deal involving Dylan Harper and the Golden State Warriors is enough to get the basketball community buzzing. If it happens, it could mark one of the most exciting roster moves this offseason, one that might redefine the Warriors' trajectory in the seasons ahead. For now, the rumor mill keeps turning, and all eyes will be on the Warriors' front office to see if they can pull off this high-profile acquisition. Could Dylan Harper soon be wearing the iconic blue and gold? Only time will tell, but the anticipation is building. Stay tuned as this potential blockbuster story unfolds.